By the way, if you got the dreaded stuffy nose, cold and flu season, try Vicks Sinex nasal spray. Vicks Sinex nasal spray. Be ready when congestion strikes. The season's coming to get sick. Listen, our president often uses the term fake news. And the reason it kind of works is because there is some fake news out there. Most organizations aren't making stuff up. But I've seen this in my 25 years in my business. I've seen increasingly. I used to be a young guy, and I looked to newspapers for the truth, and I looked to the media for the truth. There was less opinion, more truth. I'm in the opinion space, but I still try to give you data with all my arguments. Because when I got into this business, you couldn't just have opinions. You had to report stuff and fact-check stuff. But I found over time that the media is more rooting than reporting. The agendas and biases are, obvious. Now, in politics, it can hurt votes. It can hurt our country. I think bad reporting can hurt America. In sports, it's just stuff you argue about over a Heineken with your buddies. But I saw this headline this morning. Cam Newton should be among the front runners at quarterback in the MVP race. Stop rooting and start reporting. Cam Newton's passer rating is 4th in his own division. He's tied for touchdown passes in the NFL with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's 22nd in passing yards, but they're running. It's called quarterback, not running back. You will be judged eventually on the pocket. And if you compare him to Patrick Mahomes, it's not even close. It's like they're playing two different. It's not, you're talking yards per game, touchdown to pick, passer rating. It's a blowout. And by the way, I think I would say Cam is having an MVC year. He's the most valuable Cam. This is the best Cam I've ever seen. His leadership's been good. His coachability's been good. His running is always good. And his passing's been better. So he's having an MVC year. He's the most valuable Cam's ever been. I think he's more valuable now than his MVP year because I think he's a better passer and more coachable now. And he's more mature now, and he has more snaps now. But statistically, wins and losses, he's the second best quarterback in his own division right now to Drew Brees. And by the way, Matt Ryan's numbers are better than Cam's. So fake news works because it's often right. Even my job as an opinion guy, and I'm an opinion guy, you got to give me some data. And I'll give you an example of this. About Cam's stats to MVP. We do this about once a month. We call it the blind resume, where I'll put Cam Newton to the left. And for our radio audience, I'll try to make this as consumable as possible. Passing yards, Cam on the left has 235. The guy on the right has 260. Touchdowns, Cam on the left has 13. Guy on the right has 15. Passer rating, a real stat. Cam 97.4. The guy on the right, 97.8. Rushing yards, almost even. Cam's got 15 yards more rushing. So I'm being told by this that those numbers, and these are things that matter, your touchdowns, yards per game, passer rating, and let's put in rushing yards because that's the big argument for Cam. So there's Cam on the left. Who's the guy on the right? Mitch Trubisky. Less rooting, more reporting. Cam's having an MVC year. This is the best I've ever seen Cam. In fact, I thought his quarter on the road against Philadelphia was the best quarter he'd ever had. I watched every snap of that game, and I was like, man, and I said it the next day. I'm like, that's the most coachable. That's the most efficient. That's the most plus I get Cam's, his running, his size, his gravitas. That's always been great. But, this is not Mahomes. If you took out Mahomes, Brady, Breeze, Goff, and Phillip Rivers, I'm not even going to mention Gurley, Khalil Mack, just quarterbacks. There's 5 guys who are in a different galaxy right now. He's more closely in line to Mitch Trubisky, which, by the way, their styles, Trubisky and Cam, have a very collegiate feel to them. That's okay. That's what works for them with their abilities. But let's get out of the MVP stuff. Let's get into the MVC stuff. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
All right, so the Packers are traveling to face the Patriots on Sunday night. Of course, the Rodgers-Brady debate is raging. And yesterday, Aaron wanted no parts of it. Let's watch.
I mean, I'll let you guys worry about those those types of conversations. I think that's, end of career conversation. I'm just worried about winning right now, and he's got 5 championships, so that ends most discussions, I think.
In Denver,
it's Aaron being kind of humble there.
Yeah, no. I mean, I always get. I always try to be fair with Aaron. He is a remarkable talent. He's very Dan Marino to me, and he's becoming very Big Ben to me. But I think the Brady-Rodgers stuff now it's gotten into LeBron Carmelo. It worked for about 7 years, and now it's stupid.
I just think that at one point or another, the amount of championships that you have matters
A lot, and especially when you're compiling a trophy room.
And not even just the championships, the division titles that they have, like their consistency over the years. Like it's at one point or another, it's like, all right, like he's just doing more winning.
That's right.
And then you're like, oh, well, look at the team around him. Like, no, either we're comparing quarterbacks or we're not. Are we comparing teams? Because if we're comparing teams, the Patriots are still better as well. But let's compare quarterbacks.
And let's stop this too. Well, he's got Belichick. When Montana was crushing it, we weren't giving Bill Walsh all the credit.
Right.
We were, by the way, Bill Walsh had a lot of quarterbacks in his career. One went 4 for 4 in the Super Bowl.
I also don't like that just because you're saying, it's like the Kevin Durant LeBron comparison. Like, just because you say LeBron is better doesn't mean that Kevin Durant isn't incredibly talented and easily 1A.
Yeah.
Like, it's not taking anything away from who he is. I actually think, I understand your Ben comparison, but I think because of the talent level that Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees is a closer comparison. Just because the talent alone, that's why people compare him to Brady. But if you look at their career win records, Rodgers would need to average 15 wins a year until he is 41.
But remember this,
to catch up to
Brees
Brady.
inherited a mess. Both Big Ben and Aaron inherited really stable, steady environments where Brees just had, Brees had to essentially save his franchise.
Yeah. So Baker Mayfield made some interesting comments yesterday while praising Patrick Mahomes, and a lot of people are taking it as a little bit of a slight to his teammate, Myles Garrett.
Talent-wise,